Verse 17, but the midwives feared God and did not do as the king commanded them, but let the male children live. So they didn't listen to Pharaoh. Why? Because they feared God, right? They feared God. They feared God more than Pharaoh. Pharaoh is, in their religion, a god. But now they're not fearing that God. They're fearing the true God. So at least it shows that there is faith left amongst the people in the one true God. Okay, it's not just faith that's going to start happening afterwards. So there's a remnant of the knowledge of God there amongst these two women. Okay, we don't know about the other midwives, but amongst these two midwives, they knew God, and I mean not as God as we know God, right? But from their side, they stole. So there was the stories that were still being told to them, which they heard, and they feared God, so they didn't do it. They didn't kill the boys as Pharaoh ultimately asked. Okay, verse 18. So the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this? And let the male children live?" So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of a normal reaction. Pharaoh told him, and you ought to listen to Pharaoh, right? I mean, even the Bible teaches you ought to listen to those lying politicians, except if they contradict God, then you don't listen to them, right? Okay, and so this is what happened in this case. Pharaoh, like, I told you, why didn't you do it, right? Yeah, sure, they had to listen rather to God than to Pharaoh, because what Pharaoh said was breaking the law, although the law was not written down yet. But there was a law given to Noah that you're not allowed to kill. Okay? So they would have broken God's law. They feared God. So therefore they did not kill. So they did not listen to Pharaoh. That is the reason. So Pharaoh had them in and asked a very logical question. Why? Verse 19. The midwife said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife comes to them. Okay? So they lie. These Hebrew women, they're so strong. When we get there, they've already given birth. And the baby is, I mean, we can't abort the baby anymore, right? Because they already gave birth. Okay, it's past 9 months and the baby's out. We can't abort it inside the mother's womb anymore and claim that the baby is not a thing, right? Now it's already a human. And a day before, we could have claimed it's not a human yet. It's just a zygote or whatever, you uh, women's rights people, pro-choice people, pro-choice for certain people, but not choice for the infant. Anyhow, so yeah, this is like, oh no, we can't kill them anymore. They already get too strong. They're lying. That's not true. The reason why they did was fearing God. Now, could they tell that to Pharaoh? They would have been killed for that. And then other midwives would not have done this, right? Or the fear, and then they would start killing. So they lied. Okay, lying, and I've already spoke about this before. Just quickly, there are different laws, right? You're not supposed to bear false witness. False witness against someone, right? That's actually, in a sense, not lying. Lying in general is not is bad. It's wrong. Okay, way too many people lie. I do as well. I will lie if I say I don't lie, because it would be a lie, right? But when you protecting people, and if you know you're going to speak the truth, because if they speak the truth, what will happen? Pharaoh will get them killed. There will be fear, and they will kill other women. Come in, they will fear, and they will kill the kids. So they can't speak the truth because that's going to lead to murder, and murder is a lot worse than lying, right? The consequences. I think in a certain sense, the sin of it is, although I know in Reformed circles we see the differences, there's different levels in sinning, etc., etc. But it doesn't matter if you one sin or small sin or big sin, you end up in hell, and that doesn't really, even the different levels of hell, it's still hell. Okay, um, so yeah, uh, it is still wrong. It's still a sin, but the consequences of that sin is worse. Okay, so if you say the truth, if you lie, then that person won't be killed. If you don't tell the truth, then that person might be, or you or that people might be killed. So what do you do? Again, that idea of the Dutch hiding the Jews in their, the Israelites in their, or Jews in their attics, for example, wherever, in their houses, and lying, saying they're not there. Okay, of course you make the choice. Which one ultimately the worst consequences, right? And so yeah, sure. So although they were, but they were doing it for the right reasons. They were sinning less. Actually, in a sense, they're not sinning because there's a justification for. Okay, now yes, sure, God never lies. So don't now take this through that God can lie to us to get a better thing to happen to us kind of idea. God does not lie. Okay, we're speaking on a human level, on a human level alone, and not on the drawing the lines now to, but oh, then God acts in the same way. No, there's no need for God to act in that way because God knows what the heck he's doing. He can put himself in a situation where something like that will never happen. Unlike us.